Hi YouTube, BearFoodJoe here. So hopefully you saw my announcement video that my first trip is going to be to Harpers Ferry, West Virginia and points north starting on the 6th of May. So today's video is going to be all about gear, food, and fashion. I've got 2 weeks until go time and I think I finally got all my gear set. So this video today will be a breakdown of all the equipment that I plan to take with me, the gear in my pack, the food, as well as my clothing. As always, I appreciate any assistance in the comments down below if there's something that you think I might have missed. And remember, this is not a review or a recommendation video. I haven't had any of this stuff out on the Appalachian Trail. But once I get back from the hike, I'll post a how it went video and let you know what worked for me and what didn't. Right up front, I've got a pair of black diamond collapsible trekking poles. I also use these to hold up my tent. I have my water bottle with a clip that I can carry on my shoulder strap. And when I left the house this morning, my goal, which was to be under 30 pounds on my pack, I actually finished out at 28 pounds. So all in all, I'm pretty happy where I am in terms of my preparation for the trip. One of the benefits of doing section hiking is that I don't have to have a full complement of gear for the entire trail. So I'm not carrying a winter weight jacket or thermal underwear or shirt because I'm only going out for 8 days and I've checked the weather in Pennsylvania and it should run between 55 and 65 degrees the whole trip as in terms of a low temperature. For my backpack, I went with the Osprey Levity 45. It's an ultra lightweight pack and weighs less than 2 pounds. It has these large pockets on the side so I can store a lot of gear, and they are dual access so I can actually access the pockets while I'm wearing the pack. It does have a super small waistband on it, and it doesn't have any sort of pockets or access for snacks on the front. So I went ahead and I picked up a Gregory waist pack, and I wear this, I put this on before I put the backpack on, and then I use this to carry like my snacks and the cell phone. On the outside of my pack, we have a rain poncho. It's large enough to go over the backpack as well. I have a Thermarest sitting pad. I haven't actually used this, but a lot of folks on YouTube have said that it's really helpful when you're camping in the wild. I also have a pair of water shoes. I'll use these to either cross creeks or potentially to sit around in at camp at night. On this side of the pack, I actually have a Six Moons Design ultra lightweight umbrella. Another product that I haven't used, but it sure sounded like it made sense when I looked at it on YouTube. I don't know that I would use it on the trail, but maybe when I'm at camp at night, if it's raining and I have to go use the restroom, this might be handy. Currently, it primarily serves as a hat rack. Spare bottle of water. And in this pocket, I also have my tent stakes. I keep my tent on the outside of the pack, on the back, and I use these large night eyes ties. I have a number of these in different sizes that I use. This large blue size works great for having my tent. The tent that I am going with is a Lanshan Pro 2 tent. I went with the 2-person tent because while a lot of people use single-person tents, I like the idea of being able to put my pack inside the tent with me. This weighs in at 30 ounces, so it's extremely lightweight. The only question we have here is over time how durable this tent is going to be. So we'll see. That's it. Oh, I have a pack cover stuffed into the back. I know a lot of people choose to not use pack covers, but since I have my tent on the outside of the pack, having an extra layer of cover when it rains I think is going to be helpful. Okay, so let's take a look inside my pack. The first thing we have is an 8-day supply of food. I'll be going through that next. In order to support being on the trail for 8 days without support, I have to carry 2 cans of fuel. have to have my luxury item, my coffee cup. It's insulated and I can carry it with me while I'm walking in the morning. My cook kit consists of a Tokes pot, and I'm going to be using the Sato Windmaster stove. The thing I like about this stove is it actually has 4 arms on it, where many of them only have 3, and it seems like it balances the pot better. Then we get into the dry bag, my garbage bag. I have some spare bags. I have a bag with my spare clothes, socks and t-shirts. I'll cover those in the video on clothing. And a spare pair of pants. My sleeping bag is a Sea to Summit Spark 28 down-filled sleeping bag. I have a CoolMax adapter liner for my sleeping bag. I wasn't very familiar with these, however, the thought of being on the trail for 8 straight days of sleeping in a sleeping bag, I could either wash the down sleeping bag or I can use a liner in the bag to help extend its life. I have a sleeping pad. I went with the Nemo Tensor. My first sleeping pad was a Nemo Tensor, but it was a half size. It ended at the knees. And I found that when I went to sleep here in Iowa, when the temperature dropped down to 30 degrees, my legs being on the ground, I couldn't keep warm even though I was in a down sleeping bag. So I switched to a full-size, wide model. It's a little heavier, but it makes me way more comfortable in camp at night. Finally, I have an inflatable pillow, just for comfort. I think that if I travel in the cold, I will probably use my down puffer jacket as the pillow. I've seen a lot of people do that. But for summertime, I'll just carry this. And the last item that's in my dry bag is, of course, my toiletry bag. Now, I know somebody out there is going to see that I've got deodorant with me. As I'm new to hiking, I've heard the stories about living with the smell on the trail. That's going to have to be a lesson that I'm going to learn, because right now I'm carrying deodorant with me. I also have my toothbrush, toothpaste, dental floss. I also have a medical supply kit with Band-Aids, Motrin, earplugs, nail clippers, etc. And lastly, I have a towel so that if I find some place where I can wash up, I can use the towel. My bag is a standard hefty garbage bag. I'll probably double that up for thickness when we get on the trail. Okay, stop. That's the inside of the bag. So now we'll talk about the top of my bag. Inside the top of my bag, I have a lot of the smaller items and items that I think I'll use on a regular basis. I'm carrying a small book with me to take notes because I did say after the trip I'd give you food reviews and gear reviews, and I want to make sure that I take notes about those things while I'm out. I do have some length of cord. I'm not sure how much of this I'll carry with me. I just bought this the other day. Now, although I did say it'll be minimum of 55 to 60 degrees when I'm on the trail, I did take the opportunity to bring my buff, a pair of gloves, and a small beanie hat, because these items combined with my flannel shirt have enabled me to hike in 45-degree weather without additional assistance. I, of course, have my toilet kit with my deuce of spades and toilet paper. I have my Sawyer water filter, and I'm also carrying a spare. Water is so important on the trail that I want to make sure that I have a backup. I have some bug repellent. I don't know what the bugs will be like in Pennsylvania. I'm carrying a headlamp. It's a black diamond rechargeable headlamp. My electronics include a battery pack, batteries, as well as adapters for the various items that I'm carrying electronic-wise. I am also wearing a step counting watch. I'm using a Fitbit Ionic. It's been able to hold a charge for about 6 days at a time, so I should only have to recharge this one time while I'm out on the trail, and it'll keep track of my steps. I do have my old guy reading glasses with me just in case. And I'm also carrying a small pocket knife inside my pack. I have a flashlight. I have my emergency fire starter equipment, which includes matches, a Bic lighter, and some material that'll burn even when wet. And then last but not least, I picked up this Garmin Explorer emergency GPS signaling device. I haven't turned it on yet, still has the plastic on it. I'll be taking this and putting it online in the next week so that I'm ready to go for the trip. When I get back, I'll also give you a review on this, as I'll try to use this while I'm out. Time to talk about one of my favorite topics, food. So, as I mentioned in my last video, I'm about to take my first section hike of the Appalachian Trail. I'm going to try to go from Harpers Ferry, West Virginia, up near Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So that's going to be 8 days of hiking with no resupply. So I got to get 8 days worth of food in my bag, and this is what I've come up with. For my breakfast, I'm going to simply use a protein bar and coffee. That's the same breakfast that I eat when I'm at home. About 10 a.m., I'll apportion these trail mixes out into snack-sized bags and have those. And then when I get to lunch, I'll switch over and I'll have a variety of foods available depending on whether or not I'm going to be stopping or trying to eat while I'm hiking. In mid-afternoon, I'm going to have a snack of either turkey jerky or gummy bears, which is my personal favorite. And then when I stop for the evening, I'm going to use prepackaged dehydrated meals for my dinners. They tend to be a bit expensive, but there's a great variety of them and they're really easy to use. They're pretty amazing in all. I also picked up this insulator mitt because I learned very quickly the first time that I used one how hot they can be when you try to pick them up. So this food plan here will give me 2,500 to 3,000 calories per day. So a couple of thoughts that I have about that. One, I was researching on REI and they said that a lot of hikers get what's called hiker hunger after a couple of weeks on the trail. I'll only be out for 8 days, so I don't think any calorie deficit's going to cause me to have hiker hunger. The second thing is I have an opportunity for some fallback because I know there are several towns along my route. So if I've completely misjudged my food supply, I'm obviously not going to starve out on the trail. And then finally, the last secret weapon that I have is that a pound is equal to 3,500 calories. And as I start this hike, I think I'm carrying about 35,000 extra calories with me as I go. So that's my plan. As always, I look forward to hearing your thoughts, your suggestions, and your feedback on my plan for my hike. After the trip, I'll post how it went, good and bad, and then give you some feedback on the meals and how they went down. The last thing I want to cover is my hiking clothes. I mentioned earlier that I wasn't taking a puffer coat with me or thermal underwear or a long undershirt. That's because the temperatures in Pennsylvania are expected to be between 55 and 75 degrees during the period that I'm going to be hiking. Now, I am going to just be safe and carry with me a beanie, a buff, and a lightweight pair of gloves that I'll keep in the top of my backpack. These items, combined with the flannel shirt, should be adequate for keeping me warm through the hike. From the pants standpoint, I'll be wearing, these are cool convertible pants. The legs come off of these. They can convert to shorts in case I misjudge and it gets excessively hot. The nice thing about these pants is they are made of a ripstop material, so thorns and things won't penetrate them. In terms of t-shirt and underwear, I am wearing things that are moisture wicking. An important trade-off when you're hiking is to not be wearing cotton undergarments. For socks, I have wool Darn Tough socks. I've worn those for a number of years and I really like them, and the hiking socks they make are very good. Now when it comes to footwear, I'm a believer that you have to solve that problem for yourself. I tell you that I've tried multiple brands of shoes. I've had the latest Ultra zero incline hiking trail running shoes. Didn't work for me. Turns out that they were too soft on the bottom for me, and they didn't work with my calf muscles. I got sore Achilles from those. I opted to go for the Hoka One tennis shoe trail runner that you can see here. I've worn these shoes for quite a while. They do great with my feet. They have great padding, and I've been able to put a lot of miles in with them. So that's the basics of my gear, except for, of course, my hiking hat. So this, for those who aren't familiar with it, means America needs farmers. Being from the Midwest, I always want to make sure people know that. So I'm all set and ready to go. I'm BearFoodJoe, and I hope to see you out on the trail.